I said they made this intro just to mess with new rock stars. It's like, yeah, they're going to pour through
every one of these things. I'm like,
every video I've watched is people just breaking down these sound bites one at a time. Like, Jesus.
There's a lot of them. Is it trying to emulate traveling through time?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, well, this is like sort of emulating like the timeline, then it collapsing and big banging out again or whatever. Like, yeah. Then it's a big bang again. It's like collapsing and contracting, and now there's multiple universes. And
well, a big bang to a big crunch, like
right.
This has happened before. When they get to this citadel, it's all shattered and put back together.
They walked through Elias and ended up on this little rock floating in space.
He's like a portal. It's a portal.
Yeah, he's a space-time monster, I guess.
Have you watched Doctor Who?
But see, the cracks.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this place is like broken apart and been put back together at least once. Maybe more than once.
I think it's weird how this place just looks like a mess. You're like,
well, this episode is literally
what?
Jesus, it's so scary.
I like how she's Southern.
This episode, to me, when you're after the end, it's basically the end of Matrix 2 and Willy Wonka put together. That's basically what the premise of this episode.
Well, there's
which is great.
They play the Wizard of Oz thing. Even now, they're playing the Wizard of Oz thing, offering them something that they had no intention of giving them.
They need to be exposed and learn their lesson, and them standing up and saying that is a lesson.
It also kind of wears them down to put them through the paces like they've earned something, and then tell them at the end that it's all just foretold. Like you're trying to rewrite your own story, and you find out that no, this is all in the script too.
I like how she got.
That's the part that's. But see, that's also the part that is like Willy Wonka. You're giving these tests of like short-term joy or vices to all these other people, and if they took it, they're out. You know what I mean? And they keep going here.
Mm-hmm. We drown him in the chocolate, and he's eating an apple, so you know he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Anybody eating an apple in a movie or TV show?
This is the best.
Just a smug son of a bitch.
Well, it's got that biblical reference, right? The Adam Eve kind of thing.
But
yeah,
they always make such a meal out of an apple. I've never seen a smug guy in a movie just chomping on a banana.
Yeah, I mean,
but they're always eating the shit out of an apple.
I really think somewhere someone did that for an Adam and Eve thing, and then other people are like, oh, that looks cool. Let's do that. His performance here really threw me off. I was not expecting him to.
Yeah, I could do with him being a little less manic.
I liked it. I think it works.
I'm kind of curious to see what his other incarnations will be like, because I'm sure
they'll be very different because this is an opportunity for them to sort of do something different with it.
He's so goofy.
Yeah, like
that's
you wouldn't do anything this guy said because he's just being a jackass.
Yeah, there's parts of this that really shine though between the writing and what he's doing.
He's good. I just think it goes too far sometimes. Especially if you're legitimately
when he gets to the part where he's
something, I think I might just decide to kill you on general principle if you were acting this way to me and telling me all this stuff. I really am Team Sylvie on this. But she's cabin in the woods. She's like, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do my thing.
See, this part of the conversation is straight up Matrix 2 right here. Yeah. You are the anomaly.
I wish that he'd show just a little bit of menace, just moments of being scary. Kind of balance out the goofiness by saying one or two things that make you realize how dangerous.
I think they are. I think
sometimes
the part. I mean, his last line is pretty menacing. The one where he says, "See you soon." Like when when he's talking about you, if you think I'm bad, all that stuff's menacing.
I don't know. His overall demeanor does undercut those moments where he's a little bit sinister. I gotta agree with Brooks on that.
Because I want to feel like he's scary and dangerous if he's going to be the next big baddie of the Marvel universe.
Oh, but he's not the bad version, though. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that I do like is like we'll see a version of Kang that's completely different than him. So they are kind of having fun with being able to do their own interpretation. I do like that.
I love his own motion gets more intense. He gets quieter. Like, this one part he's yelling at her. He's just whispering.
He'd make a fun bad guy.
Now this is really, I guess we're going to find out eventually, but I want to know what she's up to.
Yeah, well, she says this sinister as shit, so it's not good. Yeah, see, I
what does
just
that
feel
mean?
like you don't mean something good when you say that. You said all like mean sounding when you do that. He is perfect in the context of Loki because he's such a weird trickster, deceiver character. For this to be like the sort of final mirror that Loki finds himself up against, I will say that this is a perfect kind of counterpoint because
this is what
he's playing that ultimate trickster kind of figure.
While he may not be as menacing you guys want, I think what he does do is he plays vulnerable really well a lot in this whole part. Like there's parts where he just like freaks, and it's just. I think it's just he's a good actor.
A cliche line though. Like I am known by many names.
Yeah,
it's like all people say that.
In comic book movies a lot. That way I can just reference a bunch of weird things people called me in the
Still, again, I'll take that 8 million times over. They call me Martian Manhunter. Instead of actually saying the name, it's like, don't say your name like that.
He's flying away.
I still like that.
Want to know?
I feel like they never say Kang in this episode.
See, even his little statue is cracked, like the castle.
Yeah, that's what
I like. Like, there's this idea that there's the Dark Tower idea again. Like this.
Yeah, this is the Dark Tower. Yeah,
like that's the final. In the final book, that's like the final reveal is that Roland finds the Dark Tower like over and over. Yeah, whoa! Spoiler alert for the Dark Tower books. They're like 20 years old, but whatever.
But in that case, I think it's very satisfying because you have a character. The Roland is a character who couldn't be happy. His expression is in that journey of chasing after the Man in Black. So when he starts that first book over again, it feels right.
And
you know what I mean?
It's beautifully prefaced there because it says if you want this to be a more satisfying ending, just stop reading here. But if you just have to tug on that thread, if you just have to know what happens to Roland, this has a very Dark Tower kind of feel, especially at the end of the first book when he runs into the
this is what happens at the end of Dark Tower, basically.
Yeah, he has a very weird, trickstery kind of conversation with him.
Where he shows him the cosmos and time and everything,
He falls asleep, and that guy's been dead for 1,000 years. He's like, what's happening
crazy
around here? He can't make them trust him. He's like, I've been alone too long. I realize I should be delivering this speech.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's lost his people skills. He's just desperate to talk to somebody. So he says he's just a man, but he's lived 1,000,000 lifetimes.
Well, he's beyond time here, though. He's kind of transcended into this.
Well, and there's a possibility that he keeps talking about being reincarnated. There's a possibility that every time he gets killed, he gets reincarnated into a version of himself that repeats these same events.
Simple science, Brooks. A baby can figure it out.
Yeah, it's like time travel and reincarnation, Like,
jeez. And why this is really cool because it is the ultimate sacrifice, like temptation for Loki. She's not going to do it, but it like just what she accused him in a second. But he's like, "You want the throne? This is the throne, buddy. Like this is the thing. It's not just like he wanted or he got it cheaply. Like he is it's his destiny to do this. Which
is unfortunately like they said that because they know that's the division between the two of them. The two of them together is the threat.
Now you do have complete free will right now. Whatever you decide is gonna, you know what I mean? This is like the ultimate.
Like if you're really trying to manipulate someone, you neg them, and you neg them, and you neg them, and you neg them, and then you let up. But whatever you want to do, after you've already broken down all of their confidence in their own ability to make decisions, then you give them the choice, assuming they'll make the wrong one.
This is why this is heartbreaking here too.
Yeah, but this is him and another aspect of himself. Like, can you love yourself? Can you believe in the trustworthiness of yourself? That's the character study of this. Not them as two different characters, but just your own internal sense of yourself.
To me, this seems. I don't have any problem with this relationship. This for like them.
No,
like you guys silent as hell during the Jon Snow and Daenerys stuff, and Sean and I were shocked. We're like, is this how the show? Is it the show saying this is okay? What?
Like she's consistent. She's like, this is what I've been trying to do.
See it done.
I always assumed that there would be an asshole at the end of time telling me he had a really good reason for doing it. So
see, that's why. But see, you're saying calling him an asshole. That's why I like his over the top performance, though, because I think it makes him more of an ass, like here, and it makes him more. It does work
to the story because he wants her to do this.
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
Like,
why?
so, like, why would I act sincere if
Why
I was
does he want
trying
her-
to get?
well, because it's
that's
interesting.
the
Like
thing.
he
I
wanted
think he
to
wants-
test the free will, or maybe
Well, I think he wants the Kang explosion to happen. This is part of the
Well,
whole
he
business.
could make that happen, right?
I don't
He doesn't
know.
have to die for that.
Yeah, but
know.
these heroes have such weird senses of loyalty too, or these people like that. He's like he doesn't have anything to agree or event. Like if he didn't do it, she did it. You know what I mean? Like
It may not matter whether or not he is actually killed. What may matter in it is, like I said, this division between her and Loki. Like
right.
this action separates the two of them from each other, and of course causes everything to branch out even further.
Am I
That's
the
a
other one
good
that
point.
looks
That's
at these and
actually
think
good.
They look like a cardiovascular system, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like a
Well, they're all
circulatory system.
fractals.
is what it
They're all
looks like.
fractals,
Yeah.
which is cool. Sean, that's a really good point, though. That's the thing that nobody's even mentioning. It's like
What?
thinking about is that, well, the big game is not to do the time fracture thing. Like you said, Brooks, he could do that at any time. The whole point of his whole routine was to get those two separated, and now they're sort of separated for, you know what I mean, like.
To get
Like,
them
no,
a
Explain
philosophical
this to me
divide.
before we get ahead of ourselves. Here, they're still the original Mobius, right?
No,
one
I don't know. Time.
Not
we don't
sure
know.
at this point.
They don't know. They don't say anything different. Then they might.
Yeah, the fracture may have caused
Well, this is-
the different timeline at this point.
That's why it was so confusing and interesting, but confusing. It comes back and everything's changed, like Back to the Future style.
Yeah, no.
bet he's
I'm
loved.
feeling like Marky Mark on that monkey planet.
I was watching this after, so this is like the fifth episode where he's just wearing these clothes. I bet he loves this, like playing this character, but not just wearing normal clothes. You don't have to sit there.
It's so funny
Put on,
that
like,
that was specifically for the payoff that's coming up at the end of this episode. When we're like, why does he keep wearing the suit and tie?
Oh,
it's like
they
it
think
actually
it's
does pay off,
yeah.
though.
Now this is an evil TVA, I guess, because they're
Well,
run
we don't
by
know.
evil
We're
men.
not
We don't-
sure.
we don't know.
what their goal is when they think they were formed by Super Kang or whatever.
and we switch over to the
What?
yeah, we switch over to the monkey Abraham Lincoln.
Monkey Abraham Lincoln, what?
What?
Now, you don't make fun of this. This is a cool moment.
No, this is
I'm
great.
not making fun of that movie. I liked that end of that movie. It's
Yeah,
goofy as
well.
shit, but it was fun.
I don't know about that. We still don't. We watched this whole season, all these answers. We still don't know anything about the TVA, though. How they're formed,
That's
where
how-
they are,
They didn't
and so
have to
I don't
do
know if
that
this like.
tease. You knew there was going to be season 2 because like this
So-
didn't end at all.
So, but watching this and watching other people's reactions to this too, everybody had different reactions. Like, so they're like in a different universe. It's like we're all making assumptions of where the TVA is. We think it's like outside of time, but maybe it isn't. We think it's like something, but maybe it isn't. Like, I like that idea. And this is like maybe this is just their minds have been wiped, but the statue is different. But it's like there's a lot of things that we just don't, because we don't know the parameters of what the TVA, how they operate. We have no idea what just happened, which is great.
Their minds
You're like,
weren't wiped. They are from a different.
You don't know that though.
That's what
but
it seemed
there's-
like, so we have
it
no
seems
idea.
but they are supposed to be outside of the timelines though too. Though they bump into other timelines, so who
Well,
knows?
that goes to my core question. Let me see if
Maybe
I can,
it's both too.
if I can
you know
state
what I mean?
this without confusing myself. He exists at the end of time. They actually reach a point where time catches up to him. He's
Was their
already
assumption.
in the timeline that they're in. He's already done all this. He's already had the TVA and trimmed timelines all the way up through time.
Again and again. And
All
again.
the other Kangs are
Eventually.
gone. Like it's all been done. It's past. It's all done.
Mm-hmm.
So how does killing him somehow reset all of that? It should
Because-
continue from that
Well,
point,
maybe.
right?
Well,
Well, but-
either one or two things. Either he's literally saying that he will reincarnate into a different version of himself, or two, it doesn't matter if he's killed or not. It's the events that he's trying to set in motion there. Killing him
But
is just
but
what brings
also-
that about.
But also, time is not the straight. Time's a flat circle. That's basically what it. Basically, you're looking at it like that already happened. So then the futures happen. The time just exists. That's how time for them. See, it circles around that thing. Like he's always maintaining the timeline at all points in history. So if he just goes away, period, it
So
starts
he's
to
no
branch
longer
like that.
maintaining the timeline.
Right,
Because
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
dead.
My
And
theory is,
therefore,
that it is the dark
Kangs
power,
in the
and
past
the whole
start
cycle
taking over.
repeats itself.
They could just start happening again and just branch out. It's like,
well, there is no past. It's like here we go. We have a Big Bang, and time begins.
But at that Big Bang,
everything happens, and then time ends, and then collapses on itself.
Well, keep it simple.
There's a big crunch, and then it happens again.
With the same people and everything, though? Same everything?
Maybe could be variations thereof. Yeah. But keep it simple. Like, what if the Big Bang, just two universe happens? He's an A, there's a B that has an evil person. They go and fight. He realizes how to prune that B out of existence. He does that forever, just keeps A. And he's not there anymore. That B could start again at the same point. You know what I mean? Like, time repeats itself.
I guess that's why I'm confused.
He's like weeding a garden, and now he's
dying.
I honestly
goes backwards and resets.
We got to read the Dark Tower. I swear to God, at the end of Dark Tower, he literally says the Dark Tower is a nexus point. Right. I feel like these guys are like drawing very, very strongly from the Dark Tower on this, because that's basically what it is. It's just a cycle that repeats itself over and over. In the case of that story, these two characters in conflict. But it's basically the entire universe going through these repetitious cycles, and there's a whole multiverse at stake there too.
You have to separate. Here's the weird thing: when this is true with Dark Tower too, there's cycles, and at some point it might be his last cycle. That's like supposedly what he's starting in the Dark Tower as it ends. He's starting his last cycle. So
you get Ron Howard to make a movie.
Yeah. So it's like we need to start drawing like a bunch of diagrams. So it's like
that's what happened to Han Solo.
If time always exists and it's just a circle, them outside of this thing are experiencing linear motion too. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a weird thing. They have their own timeline. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like there's progress. Yeah. It's almost like you have levels in a game, and then the overall game progress or something you're making. Like each of these. Oh, that's not a very good.
That's when I fall into my Big Bang versus Big Crunch idea, because in the Big Bang, it's all the same particles expand out in infinite ways, but at the end, when they all collapse onto themselves, it's still the same particles, still the same component parts, so that when the Big Bang repeats itself, it's the same component parts that are coming out again in infinite
but
variation.
They showed it.
So there are repetitions and cycles that happen.
They literally just showed
I get that time can be restarted, but with the same exact everything to the point where
it already existed that way, though.
Well, I don't know that it would be the same exact everything, because he's saying there's tons and tons of variations of Kang, but apparently
there will always be Kangs.
Because they seem to always be the ones who discover the existence of the multiverse and branch out. That seems to be a recurring element.
Well, because the time of their level doesn't exist. They're not experiencing. It's like if you were in a fourth dimension or something. That's the whole point of this thing. They're not. That's why it's a loop around them. But that's why. But hold on. That's why at the beginning. But hold on. That's why at the beginning we were flying through it. And we were experiencing it linearly. We saw the thing come up. We were flying through the cycle of the entire universe. And then when it actually started fracturing out, it's this whole thing surrounding it. It's all possible. It's like infinite possibilities. It's not just this one line around. You see, he's
living together.
Yeah, and he's been there just in that circle, like snipping off all the growing bits that come out of it.
He doesn't just prune the Kangs once; he has to continuously prune things.
Yes,
because that same moment in history is like
if
always
that's even
there.
what he's doing. Like even if that's even his purpose is to keep the other Kangs in mind.
Let's not get it too complicated.
He's just ensuring some other outcome.
His motivations. I'm just curious how. I guess the idea is weird to me that time is once he's pruned something, it's not just pruned. He has to keep doing it, I guess is what you were saying, right?
Well, like you said, matter and energy can't be destroyed or created. It's getting redistributed. That's what we found out. When they're pruning something, they're sending it to a different place. They can't destroy it.
It always existed. That's the thing too. Yeah, that's what, because you have to look at the way they're saying when they're in that state outside of time, like at that moment, all the time exists. The end of time, the beginning of time, you were a baby, you're an old man. We just experience it. In linear fashion, But that's what I think it is. I think it's almost like that ball, and he pruned it down to thing. It's always going to grow back to the same thing. It's like some kind of plant or something. He keeps pruning the branches, just like a tree. But eventually if he goes away, they're going to grow branches again, and then some bird's going to come live in it, which is some gangrene. You know what I mean? Like they come homes for all these other things eventually if he doesn't keep pruning the possibilities
apple
away.
keeps coming back.
You know what I mean? Like it's
That was
kind
the,
of just.
that was
So
the
what
Thanos
he's had the
question
TVA doing is just maintaining something that's moving in a big circle constantly. And if he doesn't maintain, it's going to spin out of control into lots of different ways, I guess.
It's
his
weird.
argument.
True,
But
yeah,
it
it is weird to
seems
think
to be
about.
kind of what he
Because
wants
he
to
gets,
happen, though.
killed, he stops running the TVA. And so somewhere in that circle, the pruning stops, and then the other Kangs start fighting each other, and one of them makes a new TVA.
But why does
Because
that
it's not the
happen?
same guy, right? There's a new
That's the
TVA.
thing.
Wow.
That's the thing I wonder within the context of the story is, like, they go confront him at the end of time. The TVA is running. Like, there's an insurrection at the TVA, which might be actually causing problems. But whatever happens between the three of them shouldn't have any direct impact on the TVA because whatever's happening on the TVA is happening. So why is a division between her and Loki or her killing him? Why does that create any branch timelines? Why does that have any impact on the universe? Like,
Yeah, that's what
or
I'm
is
not
it
getting.
just what? Is it just the culmination of what they caused to happen at the TVA, and the fact that they don't go back to correct it is what creates the problem?
Oh, they stop pruning because they find out what's really going on, and so that's what actually creates.
Yeah, it's his argument that if you guys decide to go run the TVA, you'll go back there, set the ship
Or
right,
if he
and
stays
they'll just
alive.
keep doing what they do.
Or if,
Or if you
stays
don't kill
alive,
me,
he can
I'll
fix
do it.
Yeah, he'll fix it.
But
Yeah,
it
that's
just
true.
seems weird because nothing of consequence has happened that they're aware of at the TVA to create a branch at that point. That's what I
very
find
confusing.
interesting.
Time travel can be so confusing.
You could like this particular video, would be nice, and
Smash that
subscribe to the channel.
Smash that subscribe
like
button.
it, punish that like just it's all right.
We
I
need
always
to
have to
do
replace the
all
keyboard. Just click button.
all the comic speculation shows give away stuff every episode. Like, to the, you gotta like, subscribe, comment. We'll randomly pick you to give you.
If you want to,
It's like,
Brooks' old
I give you a
toothbrushes.
Coke.
Yeah. The first like, I'll send you an an empty can of
Would
Coke
you like
Zero.
a screwdriver with paint on it?
Leave a thing
We
in
got
the comments.
nothing, people.
You can guess
got
what number
nothing.
I'm thinking of. We'll send you a
I'll
prize.
send you the shirt on my back.
Until next time.
Yeah, give us a comment. Tell
Goodbye.
us what you want us
Yeah.
to watch. That you should
What
do.
you want us to
Okay.
watch along with next? Yeah, we got some options.
Tell us what to watch. And keep it clean. That is all.
Good night. Good luck.
Yeah.
Star White.
Well, we're all counting on you.
Yeah. Wait, no, God, we missed the thing. We should have said see you soon. There you see you soon.
Well, you could cut that in. Like editing. Just have that cut in at the end.
Yeah, well,
Like editing or editing?
like editing is kind of what we do. Yeah, what we do with this show is kind of like editing.